Today we're going to be in the new Lone Wolf program that is called Transact. Now this program is replacing the previous version called Transaction Desk. A lot of the features that we had in Transaction Desk are not yet available in Transact. So I want you to be prepared that there are some features that are not yet available. However, one feature that's my favorite is layouts. So today we're going to be navigating how to apply a layout to a document that does not otherwise automatically map. So here's what I'm talking about. You might have a PDF document, whether it's something that your office requires you to fill out every time, or it's a document that maybe the state forms don't automatically map because it doesn't know if it's a buyer or a seller that's supposed to sign the form. So today I'm going to walk you through how to create these layouts so you can efficiently apply them to your transactions in the future. So let's get started. When you begin, you're going to be in your Transact account. This could be either in the KW Command Edition, which is the new one that we have available for all of our Keller Williams agents, or if you're one of my attendees to classes that's with the Tennessee Realtors, you guys are going to be logged into your Tennessee Realtor account. Either account, it does not matter which one. What we're looking for specifically in this dropdown is Authentisign. Let's go ahead and jump to your Authentisign program. Now, Authentisign is something that we have been using in the previous program where we do all of our e-signing. Nothing really changed here except for the design, the layout. It's a little bit more modern, and you've got some nice buttons that will provide you with quick actions. So today we're going to create a layout. To get to the layouts, you're going to find your button here in the center toolbar at the top. We need some things before we create a layout. The document that you're needing, and then we'll have to assign if it's a buyer or a seller. So in order to get those documents, you're just going to use a blank document. This could be the PDF that your office has provided to you, things like an affiliated business disclosure, or maybe you have a special document that's filled out for every customer. And specifically for our Tennessee Realtors, I'm going to jump into our Tennessee Realtor account. When you log in, you're going to have the option to go to members and then come over here to member services for forms on the fly. When you get to forms on the fly, it's going to take you to the page where you can get blank documents. Now you're like, Kayla, I have these blank documents in my transaction desk. You do. But I like to grab them from here because they don't have logos on the top. They're just easily mapped. And anytime the document gets updated from the state, they automatically update them here. So the first one that we're going to go ahead and pull out is going to be the 304. This is the disclaimer notice. Let's go ahead and click it and download. While we're at it, let's go ahead and do 308. That's your wire fraud. You're going to select it. It will go to your downloads. And then my favorite one that everybody gets fussy about when they get ready to fill it out, the 302, confirmation of agency. Once you have all those documents in your downloads, go ahead and jump back to your Authentisign. When here, we're going to select the Add New button. We're going to do one at a time. So the first one we're going to do is the disclaimer notice. And so this disclaimer notice, I want you to identify if this is going to be for the buyer or the seller, because you need to do one layout for the buyer signatures, and you'll do a secondary layout for seller signatures. So depending on which way you align it with your transaction, it will know either stamp it with buyer signatures or stamp it with seller signatures. So we're going to click submit, and it's going to jump you into Authentisign. Don't panic when you're like, Kayla, the toolbar is missing tools. You have a modified version of the toolbar here on the right when you're in layout mode. When you go back into your regular signing for your transactions, it will reappear with all the regular tools. So don't panic just yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select the document. You can also drag and drop onto that screen. But if you're here, you can drag and drop to this screen, or you can simply click the bar or click from the drop down. It does not matter which way you pull the document. You just need to get the document in here. So we're going to go ahead and start with the 304, which is our disclaimer notice. I'm going to scroll down. Now notice this document identifies client or customer. It does not automatically say buyer or seller. So in the original layouts that were created for the Tennessee Realtor forms, because this document can be interchanged between either customer, you want to make sure that you create a layout for this to make your signing packets faster when you get ready to put them all together for one signature packet. And you should check out my create a transaction video. I walk you through that whole process. So now that we've got the document in here, we're going to go over here to our tools. And from tools, we want to make sure that we have a buyer 1 and a buyer 2. Now, if these did not exist and these were all gone, then what I would have in here would just be a blank screen. And so from here, you can add a new role. Now I'm going to label this buyer 1. And all of my buyer 1 signings are going to be yellow. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag while I hold my mouse down and bring this on over to where I want the buyer 1 to sign. When I let go, it's going to either give me a date and a time, give me just the date, give me just the time, or not give any of it. But when I click on this yellow bar here, my signing toolbar to the right will change. Now it's saying, here are your tools for this signature block. You can scale down to make it fit on the line better. You can scale it up if you need to increase your size. You can make this required or not required. In this case, we want it to be required, meaning I want it to blink when I send it to the signer. And then I want the date toggled on and I want my time toggled on because this particular document has a spot for the date and the time. Now, some brokers allow you to leave your date and your time off to the right of the signature. Everybody does it a little different, so make sure you check with your broker first. But we have a second block here. Now, not every buyer opportunity has 2 buyers that need to sign, but we need to set up this document for both buyers to sign should there be a second buyer. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our buyer 1. We're going to add a new role. And we're going to put in buyer number 2. Now our tools are changing to blue. We're going to go ahead and do the same process. Click, hold, drag, and let go. Click the block. Turn on your timestamp. And if your broker lets you keep them there, great. If not, move them on down where they belong. And when you're all done, you just have to click save. Now I've got buyer 1, buyer 2. So I'm going to go back on the left toolbar, click save, and now it shows up in my layout. What's really nice about the new Transact program is it allows you to copy what you just did. So I'm going to make a copy here with my copy button, and I'm going to come up here to the top and change this to seller because now I need to make these tools down here not be buyers. I need them to be sellers. So I'm going to select, click my trash can to delete, select, trash can and delete, come back to my signing tools, add the new role. We're going to add in seller 1, click submit, and I'm going to drag this over, turn my time on, put them into place. Okay, now notice if I'm over here, this signing block is only giving me the ones that I want. I need to get off of this signature block tool. So to do that, you just click on your page and your box will go back to just signing tools to give you the option for new roles. So we're going to go seller 2. We're going to submit. Here's our pink tools. Turn on our time, drag them into spot. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and click save. And when I click save, the purple and the pink are going to reset. Now, the document has recognized that there aren't 4 signers, there's only 2 signers. The first signer will always be yellow in all your transactions. The second signer will always be blue in all your transactions. And so it's recognized that we need a yellow and a blue, not yellow, blue, purple, and pink. Okay, so now we're done with this. We're going to go back. We're going to click save. We're going to do the next document. We need wire fraud. So we're going to go ahead and do wire fraud for buyer. Because the wire fraud has initials and a signature, but it doesn't automatically place where it needs to go, much like this disclaimer notice. So we're going to go ahead and pull our 308 in, and we're going to select our tools. We need to make sure we've got our buyer 1 turned on. We're going to drag the initials over. Now this initial block may have documents, date and timestamps turned on. So if they're turned on, you just need to turn them off. And I recommend scaling this down because this is a small line to fit these signatures in. And we're going to scroll down here. We're going to bring over our signature block and make sure that date is toggled on. Now, if this was a little big, you can drag your corners or you can use your scale bar. Either way works. Now I need buyer 2. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in buyer 2. And I'm going to scale this down just a little bit. And I need buyer 2's initials up here. And we're going to scale this down just a little bit too. Okay, so now this is done. We're going to click save. I'm going to go back and save. And we're going to do the same process. We're going to copy and make this for seller. All right, so we're going to go in here. We're going to go into our seller tools. We need to get rid of all of these because we need to bring in our seller tools. So we're going to use our seller initial, scale it down, seller initial, scale this one down. Okay. I'm going to sign here. I'm going to get our other seller and bring its signature over. Okay. Now, again, remember, once we click save, they're going to switch over yellow and blue. So now we're set. We're going to go back, save. And the final one that we need to do is our confirmation of agency. Confirmation of agency is typically started with the seller side during the listing packet. But when you have an offer that you need to place, you need to sign and fill out the 302 confirmation of agency on the buyer side. But you need a layout to apply to a document because remember, this is going to come in as a PDF that you've downloaded from the MLS, or it's something that's been provided to you by the listing agent. So let's go ahead and go in here. We're going to go to add new. We're going to call this confirmation of agency. Okay, and this is the 302. This is only for the buyer side, so you don't need to label it buyer or seller. We're going to select our document. And it's going to come in. Now we are only focusing on placing signature blocks to the right side. So some things that we're going to need here are going to be the buyer 1 and 2, and you can also do the licensee if you want to. However, I don't recommend doing the licensee on this document anymore because Authentisign has a new feature that's called myself. And so when you apply this document in the signings with the final offer packet, you can apply the myself signature and sign in the moment rather than emailing it to yourself and having to click it through the email. So we're just focusing on the buyers here. The first thing we need is the buyer's name here at the top. And so you're going to utilize this signer fields. Okay, and I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. I'm going to get my second buyer's name, bring it up here, bring it down just a little bit. Okay, so now I've got buyer 1, buyer 2. It'll automatically place their names there. And if you want to add a checkbox here, you can. Now, here's the tricky part with this. When you're applying this, you don't know which status you're going to be. In most cases in Tennessee, we operate in designated agent for the buyer, but you could be a facilitator. So I recommend if you're going to apply this layout, we're going to know that this layout is for designated agent. And if you need to create a different layout for your checkbox to go somewhere else, maybe label that one different. So we're going to go ahead and come in here. Now, you have the checkbox option here. Now, the downfall with the checkbox option is it's going to apply to whichever buyer you have on. So right now it's blue because I said buyer 1, but if I said buyer 2, that was buyer 2. But if I wanted it to be buyer 1, then I could bring in buyer 1 and their box would be yellow. When they're red, they're required. Somebody has to check it. So you could force buyer 1 to be your checkbox here. Totally up to you. Or you can just place a checkbox when you're in myself applying this document. There's no right or wrong way. But we're going to go ahead and get these signatures in here. These are important. We want to shrink these down, place our date over here, get our buyer 2, shrink it down, and get it on the line, and then we're going to move this little date over as well. Okay, now this signing block here, you could, if you wanted to email this to yourself, you could place another role, and the other role is going to be selling agent. Okay, where we've relabeled everything buyer broker, but the Transact program and Authentisign still call us selling agent. Okay, so if I had selling agent, I could, if I wanted to, put the signatures here. But just know that if you do this and you don't use the myself tool, it will email it to you. And the document will not be final until you open up your email and you select the box. This is not efficient if you're trying to work swiftly through a transaction and you want to send something off for the buyers to sign. Maybe it's an offer, you need them to sign quickly. You don't want them waiting on you and you need to get to the next appointment. In this case, you would use the myself signing block, sign in the moment, send to the consumer. They fill it out and it goes directly back CC to the listing agent for review. Okay, now you do have this box down here for buyer broker firm. You could, if you wanted to, add in a text box here. Totally up to you. I like to do it when I do the signing. Your choice, okay? You do have a new form field that you can add in as well. This could be the firm name, and then you would apply that field. It's a new tool. Use it if you want to. Okay, you do have this text line. A lot of agents say, well, what about this text line? Well, if I have this text line, it's going to blink, it's going to prompt, and it's going to say, fill something in here. Well, again, I need to email this to myself in order for this to work. I don't want to do that. I just want to add a text box when I'm filling out the offer. And the text box tools will appear once you're in the actual signing. So for right now, really all you should focus on is putting buyer 1, put buyer 2, put their 2 signatures, and click save. Okay, we're going to go back and save. Now you should have your 2 disclaimer notices, your 2 wire frauds, and your confirmation of agency. From here, you can apply signature signings directly from each of these from layouts. Or you can apply this when you create a transaction. Check out my video on Authentisign signings and I'll walk you through that. But we're going to go ahead and just go here to a signing and we're going to pretend that this is a signing for training. And we're going to call it training layouts and click submit. Okay, so it's open up this document. Our signature blocks are not here because we have to tell it who's participating in this actual signing. And notice you now have a full toolbar just like you do when you're in transactions. So the full toolbar appears. So in order for this to work, you need a participant. You can add new or add from your contacts. If you have them in your contacts, they will appear in your bar here. So I'm going to grab Fred and Wilma, make them remote signers, and click select. Now it's going to prompt you, hey, I noticed you have 2 people. Who do you want to be first and who do you want to be second? And you will select them from the drop down. So if I wanted Wilma first, I want Fred second, or vice versa, you would assign the signature blocks and it will automatically stamp them where you've placed them. If you wanted to select the signing order, you can move them. So now I want Fred first, Wilma second. Okay, totally up to you how you want to do this. But if I didn't have these signers in my contact or a part of the parties in the transaction, I could create new. And so if I created Wilma as a new contact, I'll add in her email. I need to make sure that I enter in a role. If I don't assign it as a buyer 1 role, the signing layouts don't know how to apply. Again, we want to make sure remote signer is good. We click save, and now only Wilma will appear in the yellow blocks. I want to add new again, and I want to put Fred in. Go ahead and add him in. Fred can have the same email or a different one. If they share an email, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and click save. But notice, I didn't tell it was buyer 2. And so now the document's confused. It's like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. It looks like you have 2 buyers that can be mapped here. Who's the second buyer? And I can tell it, well, Fred's the second buyer. Assign the block, and boom. Now Fred becomes buyer 2, and Fred's blue blocks appear. Now remember, I mentioned you have that myself tool. So when you click on your drop down, you'll see the myself tool here. And now your signature will be able to apply in that moment. The first time you do it, it's going to ask you to select a new signature of your choice. And if you want to have it remember you for in the future, just click this little block on the bottom. And then you'll click set signature, and boom, it will stamp you right away. Okay, now you have this markup text box that you can apply here. And this is where you're going to put your firm name. Okay, but remember, we needed to add our name here at the top as well. And so I'm going to select full name while I'm here on the myself tool, and it drops my name. And then I need to be able to add a box here. And notice the checkbox is gone. So instead, what you can do is you can use your text box tool, and you can just apply a text box if you want. And you just kind of increase your font a little bit, make it a little bit bigger, make sure your transparency is turned on. And then just move this little checkbox where it needs to go. All right. Now, I have some more documents that I need to apply. So I'm going to go ahead and add document here. You're going to bring them in, and you can add in any of your forms from your library. You can see all the library forms here. So if I were to come in and I was going to search a 304, which is my disclaimer, pull those in from our Tennessee Realtor forms. Okay, so here they are, and I'm going to look for disclaimer right there. I'm going to add it in, and I need the wire fraud too. Okay, now these are coming in. Now it's saying, hey, you added some more documents here. I'm a little confused on my layouts. I want Wilma to be first, Fred to be second, on to buyer 1, buyer 2. I want Wilma to be first, Fred to be second. And then it's saying, hey, there's a seller in here somewhere. Do you want me to assign a seller? I'm going to say no. We're going to ignore it. Boom. It instantly stamps them there. It's instantly going to stamp them here. Okay. But notice, it did not apply the date and the time. That's because we used what the layouts are automatically in the documents that are built into the programming. What we need to do is we need to use the layouts button here in the toolbar. And it's going to say, there's layouts in here. Let me apply a layout. And it's saying, hey, looks like you've got some documents in here. So I want to go ahead and apply these layouts. We want to apply these layouts. Now you can't see it, but when you select here, there's a drop down. And it's reading the notices that you have. So we're working on disclaimer notice buyer. So it's saying you have this form, apply disclaimer notice. You have this form, apply the wire fraud. Boom. It's going to automatically set your signatures and your blocks everywhere you need them. If I scroll back up, okay. Again, apply the layout. This one, we want confirmation of agency. This one, we want disclaimer. This one, we want wire fraud. Boom. There, all your signatures, really fast, no drag and drop needed. I hope this is helpful. Check out the other videos for creating a transaction. I walk you through how to make a whole packet, apply layouts, and send for signing really fast. See you on the next one.